Good morning, AIS High School. Today is April 23rd. It's a day 7, and these are your morning announcements. And now an opportunity for some Panther Pride. This one goes to Shad Muhammad from Miss Williams, in which she said, "Thank you for always going the extra mile with your work. Stay awesome." She even wrote a smiley face. We also have another one from Mr. Reeve Loba for a one Marwan Fahmy in grade 10. And he said, "Marwan has scored near perfect on all of his recent tests. Excellent job." Several different announcements today, one of which, are you interested in earning some CAS hours? Have you completed those 25 for this year? If not, you can start speaking to some of your teachers to see how you might be able to help them out. Also, in the arts department, we have multiple auditions for both Theater Arts 2 and for choir. If you have signed up for either of those two classes, please see either Miss Saleh or Mr. Ball, join the Google Classroom, and sign up for an audition time. Speaking of the play, did you know that the spring play is taking place on the 13th and 14th of May? Well, you do now. You can purchase your tickets for 20 LE or 40 at the door. The spring play is all about the teacher's worst nightmare, a student who's never on time, a student who loves to argue, and possibly a fifth-year senior. Make sure you buy your tickets. See Mr. Ball if you have any questions. Tomorrow, the 24th of April, is our PTA Egypt Day. Feel free to dress in the wonderful colors of the Egyptian flag. That is red, black, and white. I'm wondering how many Mohamed Salah jerseys I'm gonna see. A verse come, verse served is a place where you can come and unleash your inner poet. There's no need for talent because odds are you probably have it. If you are interested, please see in the student bulletin ways in which you can contact Jana Shahab or Haneen Negm, or you can even contact Miss Naveen. Congratulations to our track and field team who over the weekend traveled to Bahrain. They brought back multiple individual awards, first, second, and third, and then as teams they competed and earned second. Seniors, don't forget quite a few important events. Today at 11 o'clock, you have a meeting with Mr. Bill. On May 24th, we'll have our parade. On the 27th through the 30th, senior exams. And June 4th, we'll have rehearsal with that beautiful, wonderful evening event taking place on the 10th, in which graduation will occur.
Have you ever talked with a friend about a problem, only to realize that he just doesn't seem to grasp why the issue is so important to you? Have you ever presented an idea to a group, and it's met with utter confusion? Or maybe you've been in an argument when the other person suddenly accuses you of not listening to what they're saying at all. What's going on here? The answer is miscommunication, and in some form or another, we've all experienced it. It can lead to confusion, animosity, misunderstanding, or even crashing a multi-million-dollar probe into the surface of Mars. The fact is, even when face-to-face with another person, in the very same room, and speaking the same language, human communication is incredibly complex. But the good news is that a basic understanding of what happens when we communicate can help us prevent miscommunication. For decades, researchers have asked what happens when we communicate. One interpretation, called the transmission model, views communication as a message that moves directly from one person to another, similar to someone tossing a ball and walking away. But in reality, this simplistic model doesn't account for communication's complexity. Enter the transactional model, which acknowledges the many added challenges of communicating. With this model, it's more accurate to think of communication between people as a game of catch. As we communicate our message, we receive feedback from the other party. Through the transaction, we create meaning together. But from this exchange, further complications arise. It's not like the Star Trek universe, where some characters can Vulcan mind meld, fully sharing thoughts and feelings. As humans, we can't help but send and receive messages through our own subjective lenses. When communicating, one person expresses her interpretation of a message, and the person she's communicating with hears his own interpretation of that message. Our perceptual filters continually shift meanings and interpretations. Remember that game of catch? Imagine it with a lump of clay. As each person touches it, they shape it to fit their own unique perceptions based on any number of variables, like knowledge or past experience, age, race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or family background. Simultaneously, every person interprets the message they receive based on their relationship with the other person and their unique understanding of the semantics and connotations of the exact words being used. They could also be distracted by other stimuli, such as traffic or a growling stomach. Even emotion might cloud their understanding. And by adding more people into a conversation, each with their own subjectivities, the complexity of communication grows exponentially. So as the lump of clay goes back and forth from one person to another, reworked, reshaped, and always changing, it's no wonder our messages sometimes turn into a mush of miscommunication. But luckily, there are some simple practices that can help us all navigate our daily interactions for better communication. 1. Recognize that passive hearing and active listening are not the same. Engage actively with the verbal and nonverbal feedback of others and adjust your message to facilitate greater understanding. 2. Listen with your eyes and ears, as well as with your gut. Remember that communication is more than just words. 3. Take time to understand as you try to be understood. In the rush to express ourselves, it's easy to forget that communication is a two-way street. Be open to what the other person might say. And finally, 4. Be aware of your personal perceptual filters. Elements of your experience, including your culture, community, and family, influence how you see the world. Say, "This is how I see the problem, but how do you see it?" Don't assume that your perception is the objective truth. That'll help you work towards sharing a dialogue with others to reach a common understanding together.
School today, school tomorrow, and then we're off for a nice little break. I hope that you take advantage of that break to unwind, catch up on some of your work, because once again, we are in the 4th term. We do have many more assessments and a lot of work to do before our final exams at the end of the year. I hope that you have a great day, AIS, and as always, be kind to one another.